The narcissist's entitlement also leads to a lack of empathy for others. Because they view themselves as superior, they struggle to understand or care about the needs, feelings, or boundaries of others. Their focus is almost entirely on what they can extract from others, and they are typically unconcerned with the emotional toll their actions may have on those around them. This lack of empathy allows the narcissist to exploit relationships and situations without any sense of remorse or responsibility. When others are hurt by their behavior, the narcissist is quick to blame the victim or justify their actions, convinced that they have done nothing wrong. In their view, their needs and desires always take precedence, and any negative consequences for others are simply collateral damage in the pursuit of their own happiness and comfort. This entitlement also manifests in a lack of accountability for their own actions. When something goes wrong, the narcissist is unlikely to take responsibility for their mistakes. Instead, they may deflect blame, shift the focus onto others, or minimize the situation to avoid facing the consequences of their behavior. They may make excuses for their actions, blaming external factors, other people, or even their partner for causing them to act in a certain way. This lack of accountability reinforces their sense of entitlement, as they believe they are not required to answer for their actions in the same way others are. The narcissist's sense of entitlement can also create a sense of exploitation in their relationships. They may take advantage of others' kindness, generosity, or trust, using people to meet their own needs without ever offering anything in return. They may manipulate others into doing things for them, promising rewards or affection that never materialize. Once they have used someone for their own gain, they often discard them, moving on to the next person who can fulfill their desires. This cycle of exploitation is part of the narcissist's worldview, in which they see others not as equals or partners, but as tools to be used for their benefit. This sense of entitlement also plays a significant role in the cycle of idealization and devaluation that is often seen in narcissistic relationships. At the beginning of the relationship, the narcissist may put their partner on a pedestal, showering them with attention and affection in order to secure their loyalty and admiration. However, once they feel they have secured the person's devotion, their sense of entitlement leads them to take the relationship for granted. They begin to devalue their partner, expecting them to continue meeting their needs without offering anything in return. The partner is no longer seen as an equal, but as someone who exists to serve the narcissist's desires. If the partner fails to meet these expectations, the narcissist may discard them, believing they are entitled to someone better. As this cycle continues, the narcissist's entitlement only grows stronger as they feel more and more justified in taking advantage of others. Their lack of empathy, combined with their belief in their own superiority, creates an environment where they believe they are above the rules, free to manipulate and exploit others without consequence. This sense of entitlement is a fundamental part of the narcissist's identity, shaping how they interact with the world and justifying their harmful behavior. It creates a toxic dynamic in relationships, work environments, and social interactions, making it difficult for others to set boundaries or assert their own needs without facing backlash from the narcissist. The narcissist's sense of entitlement is a central aspect of their personality and plays a significant role in their manipulative behavior. This sense of entitlement creates a distorted view of the world in which the narcissist believes they deserve special treatment, admiration, and validation from others, regardless of their actions or behaviors. It's not a matter of earning respect or appreciation through effort or genuine merit. Rather, the narcissist feels inherently deserving of these things simply because they exist. This sense of entitlement shapes how they interact with others, how they view their relationships, and how they manipulate those around them to meet their needs and desires. One of the most striking aspects of the narcissist's entitlement is their belief that they are above others. They see themselves as superior, and because of this, they often expect to receive preferential treatment in every situation. Whether it's in personal relationships, at work, or in social settings, they expect others to prioritize their needs, desires, and comfort above all else. This can manifest in small, everyday interactions, such as expecting others to drop what they are doing to cater to the narcissist's wishes. Or it can be more overt. such as demanding special treatment or privileges simply because they feel they are worthy of them. In relationships, this sense of entitlement can be particularly damaging. The narcissist believes that their partner should cater to their emotional needs, validate their feelings, and constantly affirm their worth. They view the relationship as an opportunity to take rather than give, and often expect their partner to make sacrifices without any reciprocity. They might demand constant attention and admiration, expecting their partner to put their needs first while disregarding the partner's own wants, needs, and boundaries. If the partner fails to meet these expectations, the narcissist may react with anger, resentment, or contempt, viewing it as a personal affront rather than a reasonable response to their unreasonable demands. This entitlement extends beyond personal relationships and infiltrates other aspects of life. In the workplace, the narcissist may believe they deserve promotions, accolades, and rewards without putting in the necessary work or demonstrating the competence required for such recognition. They may feel that they should be given opportunities or special privileges simply because of their self-perceived superiority. If they don't receive the accolades they feel entitled to, they may become angry or resentful, believing that others are conspiring to deny them their rightful position. They may also engage in manipulative tactics to undermine colleagues who they see as competition, trying to secure their position by discrediting others or taking credit for work that isn't theirs. In social settings, the narcissist may demand attention and admiration from everyone around them. They may dominate conversations, seek constant validation, and become angry or defensive if they are not the center of attention. They may expect others to go out of their way to please them, whether it's by giving compliments, offering support, or offering them special treatment. If they feel slighted or overlooked, they may lash out, using guilt, shame, or anger to manipulate those around them into giving them the attention they believe they deserve. To further their manipulation, narcissists will often engage in triangulation, a technique where they involve third parties to amplify their victim narrative. They may tell others stories about how they have been mistreated by you or others, distorting the facts to make themselves appear as the innocent wronged party. The goal is to create division and sow confusion, making it harder for you to defend yourself or assert your own perspective. The narcissist will often paint you in a negative light, presenting you as the one who has caused harm or created conflict, while they position themselves as the victim in need of protection. This triangulation tactic not only isolates you from others, but also works to discredit you, making it harder for people to trust your version of events. By portraying themselves as a victim, the narcissist also seeks to gain sympathy and emotional support from others. They will play up their perceived suffering, whether it's by describing how they have been mistreated or highlighting their own vulnerabilities. This emotional manipulation elicits empathy from those around them, reinforcing their image as someone who needs to be cared for or protected. This emotional appeal often works because people are naturally inclined to respond to suffering with compassion. However, what is important to recognize is that the narcissist is not actually seeking genuine support. Rather, they are using this tactic to manipulate others into taking their side and reinforcing their narrative. The narcissist's victim playing also serves to maintain control in the relationship. When they manipulate others into believing that they are the innocent one, they create a sense of powerlessness in those around them. You may feel like you are walking on eggshells, unsure of how to confront them or address the issues that have arisen. The constant manipulation and shifting of blame leave you questioning your own actions and motivations, making it harder for you to assert yourself. As you begin to feel guilty for their supposed suffering, you may begin to neglect your own needs in order to appease them. This dynamic keeps you in a perpetual state of confusion, making it difficult to break free from their control. Over time, this pattern of playing the victim becomes more ingrained in the narcissist's behavior. They use it not only to manipulate you, but also to manipulate the larger social circle around them. Whether it's family members, friends, or colleagues, the narcissist will employ this tactic to position themselves as the victim in every situation, shifting blame and manipulating others into taking their side. By doing so, they ensure that they remain the focal point of attention and sympathy, while you are left in a constant state of emotional turmoil. In relationships with narcissists, this victim-playing tactic creates an emotional roller coaster. At times, you may feel like you are the cause of all their pain and unhappiness, constantly trying to make amends for things you didn't do. Other times, you may feel like you are the one who is being manipulated, but the narcissist's ability to twist the narrative leaves you feeling unsure of your own emotions. This confusion is exactly what the narcissist wants. It makes it more difficult for you to recognize the manipulation and, in turn, easier for them to maintain control over you. It's important to understand that playing the victim is not about a genuine need for help or understanding. It's a carefully crafted strategy used to exploit your emotions and ensure their dominance in the relationship. Narcissists are incredibly skilled at using emotional manipulation to create a power imbalance in their relationships. One of the most common ways they do this is through the tactic of playing the victim. When a narcissist perceives that they are losing control over a situation or relationship, they will often turn to victimization to shift the narrative in their favor and elicit sympathy from others. This tactic involves portraying themselves as the innocent party who has been wronged or mistreated, even when the reality is far different. The goal is to manipulate the emotions of those around them and to deflect any responsibility for their own actions. By doing so, the narcissist can regain control, avoid accountability, and maintain their sense of superiority. The narcissist victim playing often begins when they are confronted with the consequences of their actions. Rather than taking responsibility or acknowledging their faults, they will shift the blame onto others, framing themselves as the one who has been unfairly targeted or misunderstood. For instance, if they have hurt you or caused harm in some way, they may turn the situation around and claim that you are the one who is being unreasonable, sensitive, or abusive. They may exaggerate their own suffering, playing up how badly they've been treated, in order to garner sympathy and make you feel guilty for questioning them. The narcissist knows that by making themselves the victim, they can avoid the scrutiny of their own behavior and manipulate others into believing that they are the wrong party. In many cases, the narcissist will use guilt as a tool to manipulate you into feeling responsible for their pain or distress. They may accuse you of causing their unhappiness or of not understanding their needs, painting themselves as someone who is constantly sacrificed or mistreated. The narcissist's ability to make you feel as though you are the one who has wronged them is a powerful tactic that forces you to focus on their emotions rather than your own. You may find yourself apologizing for things you didn't do, or trying to fix a situation that was never your fault to begin with. This tactic serves to deflect attention away from their own behavior and places the burden of emotional labor on you, leaving you emotionally drained and confused. But the love bombing is just the beginning of the narcissist's control tactics. Once they've successfully drawn you in with their overwhelming affection, they begin to shift the dynamic of the relationship. The initial flood of attention starts to subside, and the narcissist may begin to pull back emotionally, withdrawing affection and attention. This sudden change can leave you feeling confused and anxious, wondering what went wrong or why they're no longer as invested in the relationship. In some cases, they may become distant or even critical, leaving you feeling emotionally unsettled. This shift from idealization to devaluation is part of the narcissist's strategy to keep you on edge, constantly trying to win back the affection and validation that was once so freely given. When the narcissist starts to pull back, you may begin to question yourself, wondering if you did something wrong or if you're not worthy of their attention. This creates a sense of insecurity, and you may begin to feel the need to prove yourself to them, to try harder to earn their affection. This is exactly what the narcissist wants. They want you to become emotionally invested in winning back their favor. At this point, the emotional dependency that they've created becomes your weakness. You feel like you need their approval and attention, and you may even convince yourself that their fluctuating behavior is just a phase, or that it's something you can fix with enough effort. As the love bombing subsides and the narcissist begins to pull back, they may also use intermittent reinforcement, a psychological tactic that involves giving you just enough affection or validation to keep you hooked. They might shower you with praise one day, then withdraw completely the next, creating a cycle where you're constantly seeking out their approval and attention. This inconsistency makes it difficult for you to leave, because even though their behavior is confusing and hurtful, you hold on to the hope that they'll return to the idealized version of themselves. You may start to make excuses for their behavior, telling yourself that they're just going through a rough time or that they love you, but don't know how to express it. This keeps you emotionally invested, even as the relationship becomes more toxic. The narcissist may also start to manipulate your perception of others during this phase. They might make you feel guilty for spending time with friends or family, suggesting that those around you don't truly care about you or don't understand the relationship. By isolating you from your support network, they ensure that you become more reliant on them for emotional validation. The more isolated you become, the easier it is for them to maintain control and continue their manipulative tactics without resistance. The phase fades into the more toxic dynamics of the relationship. The narcissist may begin to subtly devalue you. They might criticize your appearance, belittle your achievements, or make you feel as though you are not enough. These attacks on your self-esteem can be confusing because they come after the initial phase of intense admiration and affection. The narcissist's behavior starts to create cognitive dissonance, where you feel torn between the person they initially presented themselves to be and the person they are showing themselves to be now. This emotional roller coaster can leave you feeling exhausted, confused, and unsure of where you stand in the relationship. At this point, you may begin to realize that the narcissist's love is conditional and that their affection was never genuine. The love bombing was merely a tool to reel you in, to make you dependent on their validation and attention. It was never about building a healthy reciprocal relationship, but about manipulating you into a position where you were emotionally vulnerable and easier to control. The narcissist's actions create a cycle of emotional highs and lows, where you are left constantly seeking their approval, but never truly receiving the love and respect that you deserve. Another tactic often employed by narcissists is the silent treatment. This is a form of passive-aggressive behavior where the narcissist refuses to engage with you or acknowledge your existence, often in response to a perceived slight or challenge to their authority. The silent treatment is meant to punish and control the other person by withholding attention and affection, forcing them to chase after the narcissist's approval. It is a form of emotional manipulation that creates confusion and anxiety in the victim, leaving them questioning what they did wrong and how to make things right. The narcissist knows that this creates a sense of urgency and desperation, and they will often use this tactic to force the other person to comply with their demands. Narcissists are also known for employing triangulation as a way to manipulate others and maintain control. This occurs when the narcissist pits people against each other, either by creating competition or by causing one person to feel jealous or threatened by another. The narcissist will often spread rumors, distort information, or create false narratives in order to stir up conflict between people. The goal is to create division and chaos so that the narcissist can remain in control and keep others vying for their attention or approval. Triangulation serves to weaken relationships and sow distrust, which ultimately strengthens the narcissist's hold on the people involved. Shifting blame is another powerful manipulation tactic. Narcissists rarely take responsibility for their actions, and when things go wrong, they are quick to place the blame on others. This tactic serves to protect their fragile ego by deflecting any criticism or accountability. If something goes wrong in a situation where the narcissist is involved, they will often accuse others of being at fault, no matter how much evidence there is to the contrary. This tactic can leave the victim feeling confused and guilty, even when they have done nothing wrong. Over time, this consistent shifting of blame can erode the victim's self-esteem and sense of personal responsibility, making it easier for the narcissist to manipulate and control them. Another tactic the narcissist might use is love bombing, where they shower you with excessive attention, flattery, and affection at the beginning of the relationship. This tactic is designed to make you feel special and important, creating an emotional bond that can make it harder for you to see their true intentions. Once they have you emotionally hooked, they will begin to gradually devalue you, shifting from adoration to criticism and control. Love bombing serves to create a sense of dependency where you are constantly trying to win back the affection and approval that was initially so freely given. This cycle of idealization and devaluation is a classic narcissistic manipulation tactic, keeping you emotionally invested while simultaneously weakening your sense of self. Narcissists are also known to employ projection as a manipulation technique. In this case, the narcissist attributes their own undesirable traits or behaviors to others in order to deflect attention away from their own flaws. For example, if a narcissist is being dishonest, they might accuse you of being untrustworthy or lying. If they are being controlling or manipulative, they might project those behaviors onto you, making you feel like you're the one being unreasonable or overbearing. This projection serves as a defense mechanism for the narcissist, allowing them to avoid taking responsibility for their actions while simultaneously making you feel like the problem is with you. Through these manipulation tactics, the narcissist creates an environment of confusion, insecurity, and emotional turmoil. They exploit your vulnerabilities and use your emotions against you, all while maintaining control over the relationship. The goal is to weaken your sense of self, making you more dependent on them for validation and approval. The narcissist understands that by keeping you off balance and unsure of yourself, they can maintain their position of power, leaving you questioning your own thoughts and actions. This constant manipulation can wear you down over. See through their deceptive tactics. Narcissists are not just self-centered individuals, they are masters of manipulation. Their entire sense of self-worth is dependent on their ability to control and dominate those around them. And one of the primary ways they do this is through subtle yet highly effective manipulation tactics. When they encounter someone with strength or potential that threatens their carefully constructed self-image, their first instinct is not to engage with them in an open and healthy way. Instead, they will employ a variety of manipulative strategies designed to undermine that person's confidence and assert control over them. These tactics are not always obvious, They are often subtle, psychological maneuvers that are designed to erode your sense of self and leave you questioning your own thoughts and actions. One of the primary tactics a narcissist will use is gaslighting, which involves making you doubt your own perceptions and reality. Gaslighting is a deliberate attempt to distort the truth in order to manipulate someone into believing that their thoughts, feelings, or experiences are invalid. Why? The narcissist may deny things they've said or done, despite clear evidence to the contrary, or they may twist your words or actions to make you believe you are the one who is irrational or overreacting. Gaslighting is particularly insidious because it plays on your own insecurities and self-doubt. Over time, it can make you feel like you're losing touch with reality, which can leave you more vulnerable to the narcissist's influence. Another common manipulation tactic is emotional blackmail. In this case, the narcissist uses your emotions against you, playing on your sense of guilt, fear, or obligation in order to control your behavior. For instance, they may use threats or promises to manipulate you into doing what they want, or they might try to make you feel responsible for their happiness or well-being. Emotional blackmail can be a powerful tool in a narcissist's arsenal because it preys on your natural desire to avoid conflict and maintain relationships. It works by making you feel as though you owe the narcissist something, often by creating a false sense of emotional debt. The narcissist knows that by invoking your sense of responsibility, they can manipulate you into acting in ways that benefit them, while causing you to sacrifice your own needs and desires. Narcissists, by their very nature, have a distorted view of the world that is primarily centered around themselves. They crave admiration and validation, often at the expense of others. But beneath this grandiose self-image lies an overwhelming fear of weakness and inadequacy. This fear is a core component of their psyche, and it is what drives much of their behavior. When a narcissist encounters someone with true strength, someone who embodies confidence, authenticity, and inner power, they don't admire them for what they are. They view them as a direct threat to the fragile world they have constructed around themselves. Strength is the very thing that a narcissist struggles to accept, and it is exactly what makes them uncomfortable. They thrive in environments where they can be the center of attention, where their flaws are masked by the admiration of others. They need constant reinforcement that they are superior and entitled. The strength of another person challenges that illusion of superiority. It reminds them, whether consciously or subconsciously, of their own inadequacies. A narcissist cannot tolerate this because deep down they fear exposure of their vulnerabilities, their flaws, their imperfections. They fear that if they are forced to confront the reality of their own weaknesses, their carefully constructed sense of self will crumble. Imagine for a moment you're standing tall, confident, capable, full of potential. The strength that radiates from you is unmistakable, undeniable. But here's the thing, not everyone will admire you for it. In fact, some will want to tear you down. This is where the narcissist enters the picture.